At my wits' end with them, and I am convinced I am NTA. We've been about a year NC with my in-laws, Phil and Mill. I will quickly lay out why, although the short answer is my Phil is a narc and my Mill is a flying monkey narc worshipper. I didn't particularly connect to them while we were just dating, but I didn't see any of the red flags. Phil finds a way to make anyone else in the family's milestone about himself. Sabotaged my gender reveal. Put me in the corner seat and sat himself in the center table next to my husband. When green color showed for boy, he started jumping up and down and shaking my husband. Everything went downhill since then. To my Sil, posted her pregnancy reveal, name, due date and gender reveal video before she announced. Day I got home from hospital giving birth, had a meltdown in my living room about not being able to sleep over that night. I had the smallest apartment with only one bathroom in my room, had just given birth, was bleeding, exhausted and in pain, nobody wants me. Crying in my living room. Day after tantrum I sent a text, if you really want to help me right now you can dog sit for a week, that's how you can support us right now. Okay, for sure. On my way to pick him up. Got to my house and sat me down, away from husband, and said the only way he would take the dog for the week is if he was now our dog. Couldn't ask for him back in a week. Couldn't ask for him back in a month or a year. When I broke down crying, I had baby blues and had given birth 2 days prior. He said that's just the only way he would be okay if the dog made a mess at his house. My dog is potty trained. He pushed me a lot and said, come on, hype me up about this. It's going to be fun, I will take him on adventures. I snapped out of it and said no. Just leave my house please. Sil came to visit while he was a fresh newborn with the intention of giving us a break to go out to dinner. Looking back I can see that I was a very new mom with baby blues, and it's also normal to not want to be away from your newborn. I didn't want to leave, but I said you are welcome to stay and visit, but we won't be leaving. She went home and called Mill in a later discussion, said poor Sil, you didn't even leave and she didn't even get to hold him, he was fussy and wouldn't sleep unless on me. When I was pregnant and hosting my baby shower I expressed that I didn't want to have the baby shower so close to my due date. Mill said you'll feel the same, because she wanted to push the date to accommodate her. Sil gets pregnant the next year and tells me Sil doesn't want to have the baby shower so close to due date. Understandable. All these things built resentment and came to a head multiple times. When Mill asked what my grievances with them were I started to open my mouth. Well, when I gave birth she interrupted and said, oh, you are still on the birth thing. I told her this is why I don't share, because they gaslight. Oh, so we are gaslighters now. The final straw was when I told my husband to perhaps try to reconcile. He didn't want to. I pushed. Mistake. They came over and convo of course went badly with people who have zero emotional intelligence. Once my Phil stood up in my living room and said, you look like you want to fight me. Why don't you just me up? I said, get out of my house right now. Get out now. Mill cries and says you are separating him from his family. That was the last straw. Every single time we ever got together, even when we were just dating, it was my idea. An attempt to connect, or have a good time, or anything, it was my idea. So for them to say it was me is what broke me. I blocked them. We received gifts for our son on our doorstep. We received letters in the mail. Message through other avenues. We just want to hug it out. I'm sorry, we will do anything, never actually acknowledging what they ever did. Am I a jerk for not wanting to let them back? My life is more peaceful without them. This post doesn't even mention the obnoxiousness of my Phil every holiday, birthday dinner, etc. I don't find them pleasant. I have been treated badly. And I'm almost 30 years old. I fully support my family. I feel that I can communicate with anyone I do and don't want to, regardless of who they are. Phil is now trying to book my company's services, and Mill is still finding ways to send messages to my husband begging for us all to be a family again. Comment. Your mother was raised to believe that it doesn't matter how abusive someone is, if they are family, you must submit. It's wrong. No one should have to tolerate abuse. You kept trying for far too long, but now you know, they are abusive, that's who they are, they will never change. Tell your mother it is time for her to take a side. She is either on your side or their side. If she chooses you, then she needs to never bring this subject up again. If she chooses their side, then she will join them in time out. This is not her responsibility to comment on or fix. You are an adult and you are entitled to disengage from people who are abusive regardless of their position in the family. If she doesn't believe they are abusive, then she is taking their side, and she would join them in time out. You want validation, you got it? You can't reason with unreasonable people. And you also need to follow your husband's lead when he's the one who didn't want a close relationship in the first place. He had his good reasons then, and you both have good reasons now. Your whole post stated it very eloquently. I was seething by the time I reached the part when he demanded to keep your dog if he had to dog sit. The dude was heinous to pull that crap. My life is more peaceful without them. This is your answer. NTA for not wanting them back in for just that reason. You know the second you give them an inch, the cycle of insanity will begin again. Have your company put Phil on a list of blocked customers. Mill, ignore, block, ignore. If she tries to make physical contact, like showing up at your house, tell her you'll get a restraining order. Hopefully you have a video doorbell to forewarn you of uninvited guests. NTA for not wanting them in your life. Absolutely understandable, and I am in complete agreement. They haven't changed, so there is no point in even thinking about reconciling. They won't apologize because they don't think they did anything wrong. Phil sounds truly delusional with his constant attempts to start physical violence. That alone is reason enough to never have him back in your life. You don't say if you own your own company or if you work for someone else. If your own, simply do not respond to Phil's attempts to connect. If he's trying to hire your employer, go to your manager and explain the situation. Phil has attempted to start a physical fight with me multiple times and I don't feel safe anywhere near him, so they can deal with Phil without involving you. I could have wrote parts of this. The resentment really builds when you are doing so much to keep the family together, turning the other cheek over and over and over again, and yet they still think you are the cause of it all. Next story 2. Pregnant and frustrated because of Mill's negativity. Hi everyone, I actually need some advice. My Mill, who's a narcissist and has a victim mentality, has been the source of negativity in the house. I'm pregnant and I'm living with my in-laws because my house has a mold problem, so until we find a new place to live we have to live with them. My Mill, although has been very good in terms of taking care of my physical health food requirements, she's been messing up my mental health. As days are passing, she's become a more regressive person and always talking about all the sad things that has happened in her life. I've heard all her sob stories over a million times now, and it really mentally affects me because obviously it puts me in a shit mood and it's not good for the baby when I'm not in a happy state of mind. Every time we try to bring up positive and happy topics, somehow she brings up negative things and starts complaining. It's almost like she has a knack for turning anything positive into something negative. She's also been complaining a lot about how our generation is bad and how we don't know how to talk to elders and behave and whatnot when we are always respectful. She starts crying over stupid things, and when my husband and her have minor arguments, sometimes she'll spend the whole day giving me shit about how we are mannerless and bad people after my husband leaves for work. My husband knows about it, but even he can't do much. We are trying really hard to find an apartment ASAP, but until then I don't know how to save my mental health for my sake and the sake of my unborn baby. It's useless talking to her because she'll start crying and get upset and it'll just result in another nonsensical situation, so talking to her isn't even an option. Comment. Oh, you're pregnant? Then go pee. Every time she starts, say sorry, gotta go pee. Just peed? Baby changed position and gotta go pee again. You might get a reputation as having a small bladder, but pregnant women pee all the time. Hopefully when you return, you can change the subject. If not, make sure you're spending enough time in the bathroom for her to forget what you were talking about. Leave when he leaves for work. Go take a class or go to the library. Take some art classes, if not something for your future. Lots of programs for pregnant women. Anything, just don't sit in her house. If you can go on, do something. Go to a pool. Get that tan going. Up, I am pregnant, too. I am having boy-girl twins. I understand your feelings. Obviously, your Mill is a person who is full of negatively. Forget about her. Avoid conversations with her before you and your DH are able to look for an appropriate place to live alone. Don't let her emotions affect you. I want to give a recommendation. Find short-term housing on Facebook Marketplace. There are plenty of month-to-month rentals. I found mine and moved in 2 days after first seeing the listing. You can always find better later. Also, I'd recommend telling her she seems to be having mental health issues and might need therapy. Next story 3. Mill is extremely toxic but wants me to love her. So I have been married for just 6 months. We had a love marriage and my husband is more than I could ask for. Before marriage he used to tell me that her mother tortures him and he does not like to live with her too long. I never took it seriously because I didn't encounter any toxic mother until that. In just 1 month after wedding she showed all her toxicity. She gets upset over small things. She wants all the things in her own way. She wants everybody's attention. If me and my sil sit and talk, she gets jealous that why are we not going to her room and talking to her. She is attention seeker and jealous person and create drama whenever things do not go in her way. She has left home so many times and wants everyone to persuade her and say sorry to her. In her mind she is the biggest victim. She says very abusive words to my husband and sil and indirectly me too whenever she gets angry. She believes that a mother can say anything to their children. We stay in different city for work but do visit our home every 3-4 months for festivals as it is just first year of my marriage. My husband and my sil both are fed up with her behavior and now have started giving no attention to her drama. And I also practice it that I don't talk to her much and do not entertain her drama. I have not persuaded her or said sorry to her till now. My husband tried his best to keep me out of everything but you can't be untouched while living in the same house. And now that is her main issue. She wants me to get more involved with her drama, talk to her, sit with her, persuade her if she gets upset and create a bond with her. Yesterday my father-in-law told me in front of everybody that I need to talk more with my mill and establish a good relationship. Although I told him nicely that first all of you start a good relationship with each other so it will be easy for me and I can't function in a family where in every 2 days a new drama comes up. Now my mill is showing her good face in front of me, cooking for me, hugging me. But I know that if she can't be good with her kids, how can she be good with me? That's not possible. I don't know what to do. What is right, what is wrong? She always promises she will change but it takes only 1 week for her to show her face. My husband has accepted that she can't change and started talking less to her as she does not want therapy. But how do I establish good relationship if she is toxic? How do I fulfill my Phil's expectation? He is nice person but under my mill's influence. To be honest I am scared of her. When she gets angry, she shouts, she yell with bad language, she lie down on floor and claims having anxiety attack, her face turns red and eyes gets bigger. OMG, she is scary. I do not know how to proceed with this relationship as I am still a new person in this family. This is confusing when a toxic asks to love them and involve with them. Comment. Stop trying to build a relationship with someone who will lay down in the floor if she gets angry like a toddler. She's a grown-ass woman behaving like a child. Take your husband's lead and go low contact or no contact. Support him in his efforts to distance himself from her foolishness. He must be so tired of her BS. Don't let her draw you into her drama and turn her wrath in your direction. Well, his role as a son is very secondary now. It's a role as a husband. Ask her what her expectations are for him as a son since she thinks he is so bad. Most of the expectations should be fulfilled by his husband or services, emergencies by doctors, taxi, nurses, friends. If you have to live with her or be under her roof for any length of time, reward her with attention when she's good and don't give her attention when she's being demanding. This whole thing about her wanting you to persuade her when she is upset, she wants you to manage her emotions for her, so she doesn't have to. She wants to use you as an emotional comfort animal, so you absorb all of her shit. The thing is, you will never get to dump feelings on her, with her comforting you. This dynamic is a power move and a one-way street. So just avoid her when she's upset. And your Phil doesn't want to deal with her shit, yet he expects you to handle her. He's enabling her. When she is starting drama, hold up your open heart, almost facing her, universal sign for stop. Tell her, stop the drama. Right now. Stop. And then give her alone time to process what she is doing. Do this every time. Brief and to the point but not a lot of attention. This is culture you're living with them. Right? What are the possibilities you two can get your own place? It's a new time and these toxic traditions really have no room for today's world. The women of your culture are incredibly psychotic. They believe it's their right to act this way. Or at least buy like some kind of large home with separate living arrangements and space to allow boundaries.